Leading up to tomorrow's important final debate between Trump and Biden, we wanted to sit down with first-time voters in the area to hear their concerns. Let's bring in Ariane right now. And Ariane, you've been talking to voters for weeks now. Is there any major themes that are driving first-time voters to the polls?
Yeah, Bruce, I found that equality and civil rights are across the board hot topics regardless of age. But when it came to these first-time voters, they're interested in more transparency from the government and a strong desire to be heard. That is top of mind. Have you all voted yet?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Wow.
Surprisingly.
Why do you say surprisingly?
You have to fill out an absentee ballot, but then timelines are wonky, and this is probably one of the first elections in our modern era where they're really finally setting up a mail-in voting system that allows us to vote in this election.
What helped you shape what you believe? Was it your family? Was it your environment after leaving the home?
Coming from home is coming from an onslaught of very Republican, very conservative Thanksgivings and Christmases and daily dinner table discussions that turn into fights. And it's also frustrating to go home as a college student and kind of say, oh, this is weird, why do you think this? And why do you want to repeal the Affordable Care Act? And kind of being like, oh, you don't know what that means, you don't pay taxes, you're a college student, of course you come home with those beliefs and ideals.
For me, I'm adopted, so my family's white and I am not. And so I ended up having a very different outlook once I graduated from high school and went out of state, and I left my family bubble of figuring out how the world treats me and treats people of my color and my gender then is different from when I was in my kind of town bubble. And so that creates sort of a friction then in our politics of how that, my worldview then is shaped by that. And
what are the issues that really matter to you, Dan?
Civil rights are definitely a really big thing, especially for the LGBT community. If you look at the civil rights movement compared to now and look at the rights that the community was demanding during that time and then now, a lot of those rights still haven't been achieved. A lot of those protections still haven't been in place. And this current administration has taken a lot from the community specifically.
I saw a meme recently that said, if you can wake up every day and not worry about the outcome of this election, it tells you to check your privilege.
Yeah, I just retweeted something like that.
Okay.
It's so true. I mean, the fact that people are not taking this election seriously when people's civil liberties are at stake shows your privilege. You need to educate yourself and inform yourself on things that don't just affect you personally, but affect society in general.
Do you have faith in American democracy?
I want to say yes. Like we believe that we can make things better. It's just that right now it's just so hard when you see something like the Black Lives Matter movement and the riots in the streets, and you see that people's civil liberties or like environmental crises are happening, and people don't want to do anything about it. The people who are in charge don't want to listen to us. They call us young, they call us ignorant, they say that we don't have life experience like they do. So sit down on the bench and we'll let you know when you can talk, basically. It's kind of condescending, and it makes us simultaneously feel like our democracy doesn't want to hear from us and doesn't want us to help improve it, but at the same time it kind of makes us want to do more to help improve it.
I don't have faith in American democracy right now, which is sad because it's politics and law is something that I'm in DC to study, and it's something that I'm looking post-college, post-grad school, and like what does that look like? Also, just the fact that I have so many questions about our political system and I don't have the answers. And I don't get the answers through media. I don't get the answers to the people who are quite literally debating to give me answers. I don't have them. I don't know anything about really virtually either of their plans. And if they tell me a plan, it's more likely that one of them is going to call the other one out and say it's wrong.
What needs to change to make you feel more confident that American democracy can actually hold its ground and be worth its weight?
Transparency. Transparency, visibility. And when I say visibility, I mean kind of inclusion of other communities. So not just cisgender, straight, white men, to include other people of other races, genders, sexualities, identities, and to let their perspectives and voices be heard.
We need to have more conversations just in general, because there's so much hatred for somebody that's a Democrat versus somebody that's a Republican. that in order to improve this American democracy, we have to heal those bonds of hatred.
We also talked about the role of social media in the election, and they say that some social media apps have definitely been helpful when it comes to getting that transparency into politics that they crave. But they also said some of those platforms help them learn about the voting process. And Bruce, the one thing that they all agreed on is that they love fact-checking. They say that they need multiple sources every time just to make sure that they are not being lied to.